So I just got back home from a gym. I rarely go to a gym. I train from home. I was at Flex Gym, Woodland Hills. Great people there, great gym. I was taking Brock O'Hearn through Zero. Brock is literally one of the nicest people I've ever met. So it was an awesome experience. But being in a gym got me thinking about a three-part body weight, free weight, machines. So if I rewind and I look back, I had so much knee pain, I couldn't do body weight and free weight, couldn't do body weight and free weight stuff. So I was relegated to machines, meaning like I remember being in high school and I couldn't squat. It was so painful for my knees. So the coach would say, okay, Ben, you just do the leg press, right? So I was pretty much relegated to machines thinking they were gentler on my joints, but I just wound up with super weak joints. So now in hindsight, looking back, and now with the steps of Zero, literally 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds winning on these steps, and I look at it completely differently. Now I look at it in order of you should build with your body weight. So I ended up filming 4 different exercises while I was in there, not with commentary. That's why I'm talking to you now. And I just want to kind of run through these 4 exercises to step inside my head on how I look at this. So if we start with the tibialis raise, the pioneer of tibialis training, anterior front tibialis training, was Bob Gadgeta, and he fixed weak lower legs for himself in order to like grow better lower legs aesthetically, and wound up becoming Mr. Universe. And he ended up really pioneering and popularizing tibialis training, but it fell out of style. So just with your own body weight, you can make insane progress. I see no limit to the progress. And then with free weight, the home gym guys revived a tibialis bar, so you can actually load and know how much weight you're lifting, like a curl, but for your ankles, shins, knees. So I love both of those. I do both of those. In Zero, I use my body weight. In Dense and Standards, you could use your body weight. I like to mix in and use the bar for measurable load. So like that's a starting example that if we want to fix ourselves from the ground up, if we want to get elite ankles, shins, knees, we can start that process with literally nothing but a wall. So it's kind of interesting how that works. Machines are made for this. I own the machines. They're thousands of dollars. They do work, but what's funny is I find they don't actually work as hard and get you as strong as just body weight and free weight. So, and if you can afford that, I mean, that's like a pretty luxury piece. Like that costs more than anything I use in my training. And yet, in my opinion, from using all 3 of these, machine, free weight, and body weight, I like body weight and free weight more on the tibialis. So now going to the second exercise I videoed was me going back into like a hero stretch, and then I am strengthening out of that stretch. And Tom Platz is one of the guys who kind of popularized being able to do that hero stretch, which is interesting because being able to achieve that position, a lot of people may see me do it at first and think, oh, you have to be, like a certain leanness or something like that, or you have to be super mobile or something like that. He literally has some of the greatest legs of all time. Some people think he has the greatest legs in bodybuilding history, and yet he could go into that position. It wasn't just that he had great legs. He had really functional legs. So he's in his 60s now teaching squat courses himself. I don't know many people who go all the way into their 60s consistently teaching full range of motion, ass to grass squat courses themselves. I mean, that means you have to be able to do this stuff cold. You have to be able to do it often, too much, this and that. It's one thing to follow a program. It's another thing to be so bulletproof that you can teach it anytime, all the time, often. And he's still, because that's something he loves, he's still pushing into his 60s, pushing super heavy, rock bottom squats and stuff, which I don't, I have my own take on these things. But the point is that he had an amazing mastery of his body and of free weight. Now, Tom then added machines. So I don't go that far. It's not really my role and purpose. My purpose is to master like the most minimal that then allows you to get even more out of the other. So I think if you're bulletproof enough to do these things, then you can easily, add on machines rather than using machines, let's say, to hide from inabilities. Because if we take that position, so I'm going into that position and strengthening out, there is no such thing as a machine that lets you do that. So any amount of machine would actually restrict the ability to maximize my mobility and knee bulletproofing. You see what I mean? So a machine maybe could be a finishing touch for bodybuilding purposes, but actually you actually can't, there is no machine to work that. Moving on, Nordic hamstring curl. There's leg curl machines. They're fundamentally different. A leg curl gets harder as you go closer. I believe in training that position. Now I go a little more free weight than a leg curl machine by using the monkey foot. So we're talking now a $60, $70 device allows me to turn any dumbbell into a phenomenal leg curl machine, which costs about $3,000 for a new leg curl machine. And I think it works better because it's free weight. But the point remains the same. The leg is straight and it gets tougher as you contract. With the Nordic, it's the opposite. You start out in this bent position and there is no load. And now as it straightens, that load really comes in and it's really behind the knee. So it really serves to protect that ACL because your ACL attaches from the back of the thigh to the front of the shin bone. So that's exactly where the tug is on a Nordic. Now anyone can regress that, and most people struggle because their patellar tendons aren't strong enough in the first place. So they're trying to do Nordics on weak patellar tendons. So I have it pretty simply now. You have a base 0 to get some improvement on the patellar tendons. Then in dense, you just work on the way down, 5 sets of 5 on Mondays on Nordic. Then in standards, you work 5 sets of 5, elevating your hips what you need to in order to actually go up, and then you fight down. Trying to work where you can do that flat. The guy who paved the way on the flat was Marty St. Louis. So he actually has a measurable form, contracting the glutes first, shoulder comes above the hip and then stays above the hip, giving a measurable load on the hamstring to explode up. And Marty then progressed to levitating. But again, to keep it simple, I like not to worry about it in 0 when someone's really in a fragile state. Get those patellar tendons some improvement. In dense, 5 sets of 5 on Mondays, eccentric only, push back up. In standards, 5 sets of 5, eccentric, and then work the concentric separately. Then coming back around in advanced 0, 5 sets of 5 on Mondays, doing that levitating style, which really modifies by how bent your hips are. So with any of those 3, how high your butt is in the air reduces the load on the hamstring, but that's fine. Like, enjoy the process. Where might we be if we continue that, for a decade? It appears that the people who did do that wound up having freakish speed for their age. So we have pictures of Jonathan Edwards, who won his first gold medal in the triple jump at 34 years old. You're not supposed to win a gold at 34 in the triple jump after not winning gold in 3 previous Olympics. He just kept getting faster into that approach. And Marty St. Louis in hockey was one of the fastest guys leading the NHL in scoring at 35 years old. And his trainer says that he was the only one who could do this measurable Nordic out of 25 professional NHL players in his gym. Think about it, 25 pro hockey players. He's the only one who could do this measurable Nordic at age. This video is of him at age 35. In fact, I think they both have gray hair. Edwards, winning gold at 34, and Marty St. Louis being one of the fastest guys in the league at 35. So we're seeing longevity outliers from a higher mastery of one's own body weight. And then just to give an example into the free weight side, the greatest knee longevity case that we know of, picture of him at 75 jumping over a hurdle, is George Hackenschmidt. And this is George Hackenschmidt's squat. The hands are close enough together behind your back that the bar is behind your glutes, not under your glutes, behind your glutes. Then, if you get your hamstring to completely cover the calves, you cannot cheat this movement. You don't even have a slant board to stand on. So I actually like to use the body weight at first, then introduce a slant board to get to the next level of knee ability, and then actually remove the slant board, and now we're bridging the knee ability and the foot ability together. So that was George's squat. No one has been able to reach the strength that he had in that. So let's think about 2 facts for a second. No one's been able to match his records in that exercise. No one's been able to jump as high as him, as old as him. That's pretty dang cool. So again, this would represent, like a higher end. That's not what we're doing in 0. Then in dense, I like to add that slant board. Now in standards, the goal is actually to remove the slant board. So everything in standards is really trying to get to the most measurably strict stuff. Any one of those isolated standards is awesome. Having them all together, and we see damn near miracles in terms of longevity. So those were my thoughts today, is that you actually should master in the order of body weight and then free weight. And then I don't go as far as machines, but I think someone could, for bodybuilding pursuits, I think you could, add machines in all kind of cool ways, but I would still build on that body weight and then free weight. So those are the different outlier cases that I thought about today when I went to a gym and was just noticing all these machines. So I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you to build a stronger body from the ground up with your own body weight. I think if you did those 2 things and you got more mastery of your own body weight from the ground up, I think the rest of your life, you can just kind of put money in the bank to have an improved rest of your life. Life is not going to be walking on clouds. The goal is not to get to some level where we live forever and, jump 100 inches into the air, right? But it's like pain or disability on certain things in our body, that alone can be enough to make us depressed. So it's like, why not, just relentlessly see how able we could be, over our body. So I'm on that pursuit. 2,229 knee success stories later, after fixing my own knees from relentlessly staying on that pursuit and always operating on the principle that the closer we get to the truth, the simpler it gets. So I hope this enhances your longevity too.